Where are we? Well, 1.1 thousand views 4 months ago on some areas of Badgerys Creek Airport, Glenfield Driver Street. So I waffled on and dropped out again. Very long history lesson about New South Wales Railways. Sorry about that. Some areas of Badgerys Creek Airport, Glenfield Line Driver Street versus Double Decker, 1.1 thousand views. And here I am raving on diesel trains and bloody Toronto, the Fassy Fern, and all the rest of it. So my apologies. Anyway, just an old man, croaky voice. Well, I wasn't too good back then. Anyway, I'm help you now. It's a coffee to you. Right. So if you did watch that 1.1 thousand views, I apologise, honestly. Right. What I've been able to understand what they're doing here in Sydney, Australia, on that original story, this one, the big dirty old screwdriver. Right. So all that good look, camera's had time to load it. If we do it too quick, the camera doesn't pick it up and just goes, right? Right, okay, I waffled on, I went on, but you can't look at that. I mean, you've got to learn something else about New South Wales Railways. I mean, I'll tell you everything about them. Some of those trains I've driven. Anyway, so what's happened is Gladys has got the sack. We all know that if you're here in Australia. If you're around the world, the Gladys Berejiklian, former New South Wales Premier, she got the bullet because she caught corruption, jumped into bed with a bloke from Wagga Wagga, gave him $1 million for a gun club, which is inappropriate. So she's now left politics, and now she's going to head into the private sector and go screw them over. Not one railway worker in New South Wales shedded a tear. Then the Liberals then elect a new Premier, Palaszczuk, whatever his name is, and he's already changed his cabinet once or twice. The Railway Train and Tram Union said in their own statement, every time they had a meeting with the ministers, there's been a different new minister. Minister of Transport, new Minister of Development, new Minister of something else, new Minister of Environment, new Minister of something else, new Minister of Labour, Work Ethics, or what, I don't know. It's just, see, let's just take it right back a bit. Let's rewind the clock, right? So we get 1980, New Year's Christmas Eve, they sacked the Railway Commissioner. You had one guy that was in charge of, let's say, 10 blokes. And those 10 blokes all ran each part of the state, right? Their railway lines. And the goods and the parcels and the station staff, everything. So one guy on the top, fed down, and then it fed out, and everybody knew what was going on. You had a problem, you had someone to talk to. Nowadays, you can go Minister of Transport, Minister of Health and Safety, Minister of Environment, Minister of something else. All these bloody politicians are running a railway. I thought we elect politicians to run the country in the sense of go fix up the hospitals, go run the schools, go run the roads. But now, October 2020, they've handed over the powers to be ministers. Murwillumbah to Crabs Creek to Tweed City Railway, to Tweed City Council. I was just up there and they've turned around. I'm going to get back onto the airport line. I'm not wandering off. Now they started ripping that up. And yet Queensland wants to go from Coolangatta Airport down to Byron Bay, down the same corridor. They want to run trains down there. But no, they're going to give it away to Rail Trail, and Tweed City Council thinks they're going to make more money out of tourism. Now, this is the exact opposite to what they're doing now at Badgerys Creek. They're repossessing land. People are upset. They're putting tunnels in. And I'm upset under the sense that I don't know what the hell's going on anymore. I can't find anything on any government website that tells exactly where this train's going. 1 minute, I go down the street and there's a video down there. Where is it? I'll tell you what it's called so you can have to go looking through all my gump. Today, come back from there. Sorry, I'm pausing. I'm looking while I'm doing it, just so you don't have to go look up yourself. All my garbage, I think, starts with the floods. Right, Coles at St Mary's is going to get bulldozed and flattened. How's that related to Badwick? Very simply, you're taking the bus depot next to the railway line at St Mary's. They're going to rebuild that, and they're shoving the bus depot over in the car park next to St Mary's Station Plaza. They're going to bulldoze that on the 7th of January. It closes. It closes on the 7th of January. How many people go to that supermarket? So one theory is it's going to come in round from the back of St Mary's High School up the end of Queen Street, right next to the old brick buildings, right where they just put in the new taxi bay. So they certainly won't be putting it there. So it'll be going where the old railway line used to run back in 1980, which is between Platform 4 and the elevator on Queen Street. There's used to have 2 rail tracks in between Platform 4 and the elevator, because that elevator is directly in line with the goods shed. Now, I've done a video on that. You get in and look at the video, you'll see what I'm talking about. Oh, St Mary's update with locals' opinion. 14 views 1 month ago. This is it. I think that's it. I'll just have a listen to it in the background. Here's just a little one down here at St Mary's. The new car park getting built. Yeah, there's going to be a new car park. It's not. It's going to be a new bus depot. Must be another one after that, I think. Here we go. This is the correct heading. Sydney's, trains, Sydney St Mary's new bus driverless local. Trains, Sydney St Mary's, new bus, driverless, local, whatever. I'll show you the picture. 4 weeks ago. Right, now if you go and look at that, I read word for word. Sometimes I read things that aren't there. I got a head injury. Now, I was talking to a friend of mine on the phone. Can you see that there? That mark there? See, look, there's nothing there. So that's bone. And here is pushed out. That's where I got attacked in my own home when I was asleep one night. Boom, right across the forehead. So I apologise for anything I say comes out wrong. Can you see it? You can see it when I move my head. There it is. Oh, yeah. Gutless bastard. Yeah, cops got him. But anyway, done the damage. So I've got this croaky voice and talk funny. So just I apologise, let you know, but it wasn't my fault. Okay? See that you can see it. Right. Anyway, so if you go down, what's that video there? I'll put it on. Let's have a listen. I'll read it out, I think.
Oh, Johnny, look good.
I got the dog in the car. Sorry. I like my dog. Here it comes.
What have I got up here? There's a sign up here. Let's go out there and we'll go have a look. Right, so this is our, this is our road car park sign. Monday, 27th of September, this car temporary closed for temporary construction of a new.
September car park will be closed for construction of a new temporary bus interchange. All vehicles will need
New temporary bus interchange.
All vehicles will need to exit the car park by this time. Please use available parking in Gidley Street and Beecroft, BEA Croft Place car park, which is the one on the other side of Phillip Street. Thank you for your patience. Blah, 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 blah. Goes on. Right. So now looking at the diagram.
Interchange.
Oh my God, what have they done? Kiss and Ride, Nowra Street.
Well, how's this one?
What the hell's Nowra Place car park. Car park closing. Taxi rank is moved over, which is where it is now, which is at the very dead end of Queen Street. It was next to the old tobacconist. Venus Place car park, which is the one next door to Coles, that's already been uprooted. Yeah, there's Phillip Street, Station Street, and then taxi rink's going over there. What's this? Nowra?
Well, there's the Mary's train station.
Oh, so it still doesn't show.
We're parked right here.
No, I've got my finger on the wrong spot. I didn't have my glasses on when I was doing this. This is why I'm watching my own picture. Right. So if you've got Coles there, you've got the railway line there, and you've got the bus terminal there, that's getting wiped out. The bus terminal is getting put down in the car park next to Coles. Coles are going to get demolished. The buses are going to go in there. And that's where everybody thinks the train's coming in. The driverless train. Where the bus terminal is. And that's right between the old goods shed I used to work in, next to the crane, next to the elevator. So there's a straight line there. And it's going to come in with the two tracks there. And then the track there, platform 4 is here. And then platform 4 sits there. There's enough room. If you actually stand there, you can look where the platform 4 track is to the back of the elevator, which is exactly where the two rails used to be when I worked there in 1979, when we had actually 3 railway lines in there for the old goods shed. Because I used to swing that crane around and pick up all the stuff out of the S trucks and lift it up and swing around on the crane. That's where the crane is, right next door to the elevator. So that's the first theory. The driverless train is going to come there. The next theory is, I found there was a diagram come up and it showed the driverless train cutting across the western bound line and going over that towards the St Mary's Ropes Creek line. And then it shows it's going to go around, God, how to explain this one. This is ludicrous. They're going to go past go down the old train tracks, instead of turning into Dunevett Circuit, and go round to where the corner of, now quote, the corners, Link Road and Forrester Road, which is exactly where Cochrane Railway Station used to be, because you get into my channel, I actually got a map, a 1970 street map, and I actually open it up and it shows you Cochrane train station is just a little bit north of Links Road. Everybody tried to tell me it was up past the creek, halfway right up there into Robes Crossing. It wasn't. I've actually got a picture on the street directory. It was actually just a little bit north of Links Road. That's the old Cochrane train station. And you used to come down and it was a cutting and you go in. That's why when you go around there, St Mary's, to see all those rails sticking up. Now, this is all to do with the Badgerys Creek Railway Line. This is what everybody's all kerfuffled about. So it was to come around there and then go directly west, past the back of the sewage work, and then it was supposed to come back around on the old railway line that is still there in the back end of Links Road. So we've got the old Links Road there. Here's the golf club, and you drive down Links Road and you come around the corner and come down the side of the golf club. There's the golf club over here. You see two rail tracks, right? You're supposed to go up there. But then they said, no, what they're going to do, you're going to run the train up there. Instead of going around there like that, they're going to go straight ahead and come around the back of the sewage works, come back down the opposite way down Forrester Road, then come back out down to Dunevett Station, and then turn right again and do a loop, and then go out. So they come out further west of Robes Crossing. Does that make sense? So the railway line's going to go like this. On the north side of St Mary's, which means it's not going to go into the bus depot. That's another plan I'm saying. And then from there, it runs across out the back of Wilmont and somehow goes past a big new housing on St Mary's Road out there to South Creek. And then from South Creek, it's going to cut across the Riverston Meat Company ground in between the back end of Garfield Road West and somehow get over there and jump over the train tracks at Schofields and join up with that driverless train depot, which in the video I show with the driverless train, they've got the old red house there with the door open that's been bought out by the government. That's the railway corridor. So when you look at the driverless train depot, and there's the driverless train station, you'll see there's a whole bunch of abandoned houses down here. And then you've got the Riverston to Schofields railway line. Well, what they can do, they can build straight across that and go straight across, and then go down and join up with the arse end of St Mary's. That sort of makes any sort of sense. I wish I had a bloody map here, street tree or something to show you. But basically, that's how they're going to make the circle, which would be more sensible. But why they want to go around a circle, around Dunevett Circuit, is because the amount of businesses out there and the people that got to go to work out there. There are people walk 2.5 kilometres from St Mary's train station, right up Forrester Road, over Christie Street. Sorry, Forrester Road to corner of Christie, then turn down Christie Street, then walk over the old Dunevett railway station bridge, and then walk right up to the other end, I'll say Charles Street, up there the corner of Link Road. You know, I know that for a fact. I've seen people up there, and I said, you go out to... And they said, yeah, well, I'll give you a lift up. And I'll give them a lift to work. And they said, well, no, if you do that, I'm going to get there an hour and a half early. What am I going to do? So then they just keep walking. It takes them an hour and a half to walk it. So the government's idea is they're going to put a loop railway line in around that St Mary's, around the back of the sewage works, then come back down to the south, down past the St Mary's Leagues Club, back into the old Dunevett station, and then turn north and go straight ahead again. So then with that Dunevant train station, they can pick up Links Road and the other side of Christie Street, because they don't run any buses up there. They won't run a bus up around Links Road because it doesn't make any money. But they're going to make you sit on a driverless tram, and you're going to come in there from the international airport, and then you're going to cut across at Mary's, and then you're going to get around a loop railway line around the industrial area. Then you're going to go right up there to Schofields, cross over at Schofields, back up there to that tea place, whatever they call it, and then go right up there through Borkham Hills, come right up there up the Epping, which originally took 40 years to build for the normal double deckers. And then they took over that, well, like I said, before Gladys said the announcement. So that's what she's going to do. And she did. She took over that. Now she built it right down to North Sydney. Now they're building underneath the Sydney Harbour. Now they're building across the road there from Channel 7. So go and watch Channel 7 in the morning, and you look at the TV camera, you look across the road, you see the big industrial thing up around the netting. That's it. That's a driver's train in Sydney. It's on the corner of Elizabeth Street and Martin Place. And then from there, it doesn't join up into the Eastern Suburbs railway line. No, it goes right underneath all that. Then it pops out down at Central somewhere else, down between 14 and 15 platform. Everybody thought it was going to go there between 26 and 27 platform. No, they didn't use them. Everybody jumped up. Oh, yeah, that's great. You know, go 24, 25, go to Bondi Junction. They'll put the driver's train and they'll put it in there on 26 and 27, which is above 24 and 25, and run it there. So you got two platforms over here. No. So now they come in, they took over 14 and 15 over here. So then you got 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Then you've got to go down to 24, 25. So instead of using up these two already pre-built platforms. And then it goes from there, Botany and McAvoy. Then it's going to come back around to Sydenham, back around to Bankstown, Bankstown out to Liverpool, Liverpool down to Glenfield. And then from Glenfield, it's going to cut across and take over to Leppington line. And then from Leppington line, it's going to then come back around there through to St Mary's, through Badgerys Creek, some Aerobilia station or some bloody stupid idiotic name. And then they're also going to build the railway line, the driverless train, right down to La Perouse, where the tram used to go. Why? Who wants a driverless train down to La Perouse? Then they're going to build another one to go right down to Cogra. I've got it on their video somewhere down in my channel. I show the picture of it. It's ridiculous. All this driverless tram crap, and they're all coming out here from India because Gladys Berejiklian said that New South Wales Australians can't build trains. That's why she bought the trams from Spain 20 years ago. Now they're already falling to bits, and now that's going to be, until next year sometime. What's the point? We used to build all our own steam engines. We built all our own diesel locomotives. We built all our own electric locomotives with a pantograph. We used to build everything until 1980, when the Liberals then started bringing in the XPT from England. XPT comes from England. There's a video down there. Get in and watch it. The XPT comes off a ship. You see two XPT drive cars, one trailer car in the middle. And then the next thing you know, in the video comes out, it's got the 5 carriages in the middle. And they start driving out of Balmain. And the bloody thing runs into the dirt. You see a big cloud of dust come up and run off the tracks. It didn't even get 300 yards off the boat and already derailed on the first day it was here in Australia. XP2. Heap of crap. But it was the track fault, not the train's fault. That's what I mean. They bought it, then they bring in all these Tangaras. They weren't made here in Australia. No, they come off a ship. Tangara. They come from Spain as well. That's why they don't want to drive them. I think it's Spain or somewhere. Singapore, somewhere. But our government said, no, we're not going to build trains anymore. So that's why now you got to cop it. But unfortunately, they've got to put this this train line in, which is good for the airport, yes. But because they're using a different type of train instead of being all the other trains, if you come into the international airport, you won't be able, it won't be able, they've already shown it on the news. The Prime Minister said in there, this is a train going to the new Badgerys Creek Airport. It's a driverless train, what I call scope wheels, right? Western Sydney driverless tram, I call it, right? Talawa, or whatever we want to call it, some stupid name. Tallawong, that's it, Tallawong, right? They're going to run that out to the airport. So how are they going to get that? If you're going to fly into Sydney, Australia, and you think, oh, you know, I'm going to get off the plane, I'll get on the train, and I've got the main Western line, I'll fly straight into Central, Town or Wynyard, and go to my hotel in the city, or get off at Parramatta and go stay at the Park Regis or somewhere else. Not going to happen, sweetheart. Nope, not going to happen. You're going to go around a huge, great big circle with a circle in it. It's going to have a circle in it. Right? It's going to go up, it's going to go around a circle, and goes around one great big circle, and the main Western line, Parramatta, right through to Central, is in the middle. So you can either go via Bankstown, right all the way right down the south down to Liverpool, and come back up through Bankstown, back up there through Sydenham, and then come out around there through the eastern suburbs, eastern side of the main Illawarra line, or you're going to go right up around the top of Castle Hill, up through the back of that way, and come out there through Epping into Chatswood. I know what I'll be doing. I'll be catching the thing as far as St Mary's and getting off the bloody thing, and I'll be walking over and getting on a bloody normal train. I'll be catching a normal train at St Mary's, and if they don't let me, and if there's no way to get on a normal train at St Mary's, well, I'll be catching a cab out of the international airport, and I'll be saying, "Oh, St Mary's train station." Probably be about $40 fare, but there's no way in the world I'm sitting on a sideways train going sideways like this, not my back. No way. I won't even ride on the boat Tallawong. No way in the world. I'll be getting on that stupid train at Tallawong. I've been on it once. I went 2 stations, then I got off and I couldn't walk. It's ridiculous. Politicians. They don't understand people with disabilities. They just play on these stupid trains. Anyway. Have you ever seen a driver's train in Sydney? I'll show you one.
Where we are right now.
Actually, I had it all keyed up there before. Sorry about the flicking on my face, but what else can you do? Mr. Hominoid, I go all over the countryside. I've been up there to Moranbah, Byron Bay, and they're putting a cycle track in there between Crabs Creek, Crabbes, Crabs Creek, northern New South Wales. It's got a double B in it, to Moranbah. And they only got as far as bloody Dunbible. Just telling you that while I'm looking for this railway line video. Now, this to me is a nice train. This is St Mary's train station, double-decker train. This is what you should be getting on at the international airport. St Mary's train station. Let's have a look how busy it is. You're really dead. Right. Oh, actually, this has got the footage in it. Now, that there's Coles. That's going. There's the new bus terminal over there. And swing the camera back. Come on, old man. Man, I had the shakes that day. I don't know. I'm getting old. Yeah, that's where I used to work, right there. Now, can you see what I'm talking about? Between that black fence of the train tracks at platform 4 So it says 4 up the top. Well, those doors is where I used to load the goods trains out of. Fit one rail in next to there, one rail there, and one rail down here with the green hedges. Hang on, I couldn't see what I was doing. I've got to keep my eye on the camera so I know you can see what I'm looking at. Right. There was a railway carriage sitting right there next to that door. Then there was another train track there, and then there was another train track down here with the green hedges behind the black fence, which is on the other side of the actual now current train track. So 3 pairs of rails can actually fit in there. And you see these stairs? That was to raise it up. The true ground level is actually down here. That's the true ground level. True ground level. Anyway, let's see if we can find something else along this. Anyway, now, wouldn't you rather be met by something like this when you come to Sydney? Even though these are made in China. Yeah, that's right. We're too dumb to make our own trains here in Australia. We've got to go to China. These are Chinese made, I believe. I've got to be. Now, isn't it? Look, okay, these are side sitting ones, just like the tram, as I call it. Then look, oh, look at that. See, you can actually zip forward. And those seats there flip over. And look, it even tells you where you are, and there's a security camera. So it's on you all the time. See the security camera? Right. And then if you want to sit down there, you sit. Right. Now, what they want to let you ride on, put you back up here for the moment. Sorry about that. Finger got caught in the camera. Actually, I'll use that old film. So, ooh, nice and dark. Don't get excited. Calm down. Right. I'm using the 1.1 thousand views one. And I'll show you what this driverless tram looks like. Oh, right. Here's the house that they're demolishing to build the driverless tram to come south of Tallawong. That's one of the houses they're going to be bulldozing. And of course, I didn't realise I had the camera out there in full zoom. See, look, there it is. That's all going to be bulldozed. Even that house right next door, a great big house. You have a look. You look at the size of this house. I didn't realise how bad that camera was, Salary. So there it is. Great big house has great big roller doors on it. Right? They're going to knock that down there. And look, there's the fence for Tallawong Railway Yard. Right next door to it. And then this is the driver's tram. This is what you're going to be catching. So look again. No, hang on. Would you really want to catch a thing like that? Where the seats are narrow and look like... Here it is. Have a look. There's no train driver. It's all computer controlled. This is what you're going to be met with at the New Sydney Badgerys Creek Airport. And you're supposed to be impressed with this. No train drivers. In that white box there on the left, they can really put a driver in there. And then now, so look, no train driver. No, it's not a mirage. Show it to you again. I'll catch it just so you can actually see what the inside looks like. Is that something you... And you're going to sit sideways? Really? Rather sit in something like... Oh, here it is. Here's the one. Sorry, I'm getting off it. Here's it when the Tangaras first arrived by boat. And people don't believe me. Have a look. Why else would they park a Tangara being towed by these? Because they just come off the boat. So that's a Balmain power station. That's the old Balmain power station. Tangaras were not built here in Australia. XBT. XBT. They are. They come off the ANACKEA something or other out of somewhere. And look, it's got one carriage in the middle. See that? Now, what's this? See, they're pushing that with the diesel loco. See, diesel loco's pushing the Tangara. Now, you want to see something funny? There goes the diesel loco towing the Tangara. And look, it just barely fit it. Right. Now, you watch the right-hand side wheel. You see a dust cloud. There it goes. Derailed. Look at the guy looking. Oh, shit, mate. We're in the dirt. Oh, Christ. Oh. Oh, better get out and have a look. 1, 2, 3 guys. Oh, look. We're all standing there. We're all having a good look. Back it up, mate. Back it up. Back it up. Back it up. Trains do get flat tires. Answering a quiz question I had there the other day. I just remembered it. Anyway. So there you go. You just seen the XBT the first day it was here in Australia. and it didn't even get 500 yards off the boat and it hit the dirt. British crap. So I don't say something unless I've got proof. See, now we've got our own locomotives. So okay, I know I'm talking about the Badgerys Creek Airport. We used to build all of our own trains, right? All of them. Oh, look, it's hang on, back that up. You'll have a laugh at this. We always have a joke on YouTube about this name. Wagga Wagga. They say Wagga Wagga. Does anybody know what it means? Wagga means crow. Wagga Wagga, Wagga Wagga means land of many crows. Right? So a Wagga is a crow and Wagga Wagga is land of many crows. Now, oh, here we go. XPT. There she is. The same one that come off in the dirt, probably. Yeah, well, they've been out here since 1980. This is filmed in 1990. And they say we can't build our own locomotives. Oh, hang on. Where is it? Here we go. All these locomotives were built here by Australians. 4834. There you go. We used to make all our own trains and those carriages. Those locomotives were made back in the 60s and they're still running around today. Not like the Sydney trams from Spain that got cracked and got holes in them. Our locomotives are still running around, 3807. Anyway, I just hope that was interesting. So what would I do? Let's do a summary. What would you want? This train line's going to go in no matter what. Do you really want a driver's tram to meet you at the airport? Wouldn't you think it'd be smarter to get rid of that Indian-made heap of computerized crap with no driver, uncomfortable, sitting sideways, and then standardise like they did back in the 60s? Sydney to Melbourne, Sydney to Brisbane, 4 foot 8.5 inch gauge, the old measurement, from Albury, Wodonga, Albury, right down to Melbourne. So people didn't have to get off the train at 4 o'clock in the morning and change and carry the bags and the kids and the parcels and everything else. It's the same principle. Keep the railway line, the standard line, what it already is now at Bankstown before they rebuild it. It's going to be too late. They're going to build it. Fine. There's always a thing called a shifter and a jackhammer. And when they put in all this driverless train bull crap, and these politicians go way of the dinosaur and get kicked out of office, and they'll be gone for about 10 years. It's up to you, the younger generation, to turn around and say, we don't want that shit. We want to get rid of it. It's very simple. You put in 2 sets of points or 4 sets of points down at St Mary's, right? Or they put a set of points in over at Schofields, and if they got to, depending which way they build it. Now, if it's rail over rail, like that, with the overhead bridge, that's easy. They split it off and run it out 2 sides. They build railway bridges everywhere. Look at Seven Hills to Blacktown. You got the flyover bridge. It takes platform 4 at Seven Hills, flies over all 3 tracks, and comes down on the other side to go out onto the Richmond line. There's nothing for the government or the railways to build a flyover bridge anywhere. So you can build flyover bridges at Schofields, flyover bridges at St Mary's, And they don't need any flyover bridges down at Glenfield because the tracks are already there. They're already running the double-decker Tangaras or those blue and yellow things. They already run them out there. They actually run from Schofields around to Leppington. But isn't that funny? Now they're going to build the railway line from Leppington back up there, cross over to Schofields. But they're going to go past the International Airport. Have you looked at your train timetable lately? Go and look where the Leppington train goes to. It goes Leppington, Glenfield, Liverpool, Marylands, Harris Park, Parramatta. It comes around the old goods line, which they then electrified, which never used to be electrified up until about 1988 when they finally electrified it. Then they started running trains from Penrith to Campbelltown because people were complaining. They had to keep changing at Granville and going up and over, up and over. And they said, can't we have a train? Can't you put a bloody bit of copper wire around that goods line that goes off to the right at Harris Park and goes around to Marylands? Can't we have a train from Penrith to Campbelltown? The government, we're politicians. That's too intelligent. So then they finally put it in. And what are they running now? A train every 20 minutes, Schofields, not even as far as Riverston, back to Blacktown, back to Harris Park, around to Marylands, doesn't go to Granville, round the right, and goes down to Leppington. So then it's going to get to Leppington, back around to Schofields. See the circle? Just trying to put it all together. This nutty, stupid, irresponsible railway we've had since Christmas Eve, 1980, when they sacked the railway commissioner. Here's a few more pointers for you. Did you know the railway line was supposed to be electrified from Kiama to Bomaderry? Yeah, it's supposed to be. But because the ARU and the NUR were going to put all the train drivers on strike, and all those diesel train drivers down there said, oh, look, we've only got 2 years to go before we retire. Where are we going to go? So I said, all right, we don't want an argument. We won't argue with you. So they left Kiama to Bomaderry unelectrified. And that's where you're going to get that little diesel train. You run up and down all day. Right? And then what they didn't tell you was, and they have mentioned it, occasionally you hear it, sometimes they let it slip, the new railway station at Kiama. That's right. They used to have a railway line from Bomaderry to Kiama, and he used to pick up all the goods there in 1950. But the government ripped it out because they didn't want to have to pay to upgrade the train bridge back in the time. 1950s, 1960s, they ripped it up. Didn't know that, did you? See, there's one thing about being a researcher. I get to see all the old government documents that you, the young people of today, they're just too busy doing your PlayStations and going to work and trying to pay your bills and everything else. You know, I try to help you. So anyway, what else? They're also supposed to have a railway line built. The electrification goes from Lithgow as far as Bowen Fells. But they've never ever run an electric train out to Bowen Fells past Lithgow because they never put in a set of points to bring it back. And yet if you go to Bowen Fells, Bowenfels, Bowen Fells, it goes past the station, around the bend, and right where the old Great Western Highway goes underneath the train tracks. That's where the overhead wires stop. With no sets of points. It's brand new copper wire. Never had a train on it since 1960. So 60 years, those poles have been out there. Never ever had a train on them. And that electrification was supposed to go through the Bathurst. And one of the plans I did see, it was supposed to be electrified, and the railway line still runs out. And this, you car racers, you Bathurst 1000 people, you're not going to believe this. The railway line stops across the cow paddock away there from the back of the hotel at Mount Panorama. I know, I've stood on it. The old railway line from World War II out the old ammunitions factory All they had to do was go 300-400 yards, go across the road and into the back of the hotel at Mount Panorama. Now, wouldn't that be great if you can get an electric train from Central to the hotel at Mount Panorama? Wouldn't that be common sense? Wouldn't that be great instead of you all driving your cars all the way up there to Bathurst? How many people can you fit in an 8-car double-decker train? How many cars would they take off the road? But no, they stopped the electrification of Bowen Fells and they never renewed the railway line from Bathurst out to Mount Panorama. You can still see it on Google Earth. You won't find it on any map. You can look on Google Earth, you zoom down, you can see it. It goes down and then swings right down past a great big shed. And also, it was supposed to be originally electrified out to Mudgee. So the Mudgee railway line didn't close down. Then they also supposed to electrify it to Dungog and electrify it to Muswellbrook. But then they said, oh no, well, if you do that, you can't electrify it out to Muswellbrook, right, past Maitland, because then where are their diesel train drivers going to go? You see? They didn't want to do it. But really, if you think about it, how good a rail network will we have? Where's your train ticket that you buy on a Saturday and a Sunday for $2.50? You can go from Bomaderry, Goulburn was supposed to be electrified. Yes, Macarthur to Goulburn was supposed to be electrified 30 years ago. Goulburn to Macarthur was supposed to be electrified 30 years ago. Because it's all part of the Sydney metropolitan area train ticket. Bomaderry, Nowra, Goulburn, Bathurst, Scone is supposed to be electrified from Scone down to Muswellbrook, into Singleton, back out to Maitland, up to Dungog, which is where the boundary is as well, and then back into Newcastle City, where Gladys decided to go and rip up the rails and go fill it up there full of dirt and put in another bloody tram from Spain that's got a intermittent pantograph and waste another $12 million of taxpayers' money, and now takes 40 minutes longer. Used to take 6 minutes to go from Hamilton to Newcastle. Now it takes 40 minutes, 46 minutes. So it takes 40 minutes longer to go from Hamilton to the tram stop just across the road from the old Newcastle train station. Thanks, Gladys. We're glad you got done for corruption. I reckon Gladys might probably have a job lined up there at Newcastle. I wonder who's gained a bit of profit out of that. Well, her niece certainly did. Her niece is up there in Newcastle. She got the uniform contract for over $1 million. Gladys's niece. Well, Gladys ain't married, so it's not a daughter. It's one of her offspring's kids. She got the contract. It was well known. All the railway workers know about it up there in Newcastle because half of their families used to go around and work there. I said, oh, Mum, we sewed you up a new uniform. Do you like what you're going to get on the railways? I'm working at Gladys Berejiklian's niece's factory. This is what they're going to make you. Yeah, the woman told me. Her daughter worked in Gladys's niece's factory. She got the contract. Well, how more direct information can you get? So ICAC, go and have a look at that one. Anyway, for me, Mr. Hominoid, good night. I've had enough. Anyway, let's do a quick summary again. How would you feel electrification back from Newcastle, right back up to the old station, just 1 and 2 platform, leave the other ones as parked, don't need to worry about them, just 1 and 2, that's enough. Let's put 2 tracks in. Get rid of that thing in the middle. They've got walkways there, they've still got level crossings in. Right? Electrify it up to Dungog, electrify it up to Scone, and then electrify it from Muswellbrook down there through Sandy Hollow and take it back around to Mudgee and electrify it, reopen the Mudgee railway line, electrify it like it should have been from Mudgee back down through Louis, back down to Ralston, back down to Kandos, and electrify it right back down into Wallerawang. Oh, that's another beauty. Did you know about that? You cannot catch a train, a diesel train, to Wallerawang. But you got Lithgow, Bowenfells, Wallerawang, you can't get off it, but the train goes through it. They go to Bathurst. But the next station, you can get off the diesel train, but you can't get off at Wallerawang. Because there's no set of points that take you from the down line onto the main platform for you to get off the train. It takes you to the old down platform, which has got the old steps. And because of wheelchairs, they won't stop the train there. So why don't they put a set of points in on the Sydney end of Wallerawang's train station and let the diesel train pick up and drop off people at Wallerawang? Why are they going to be discriminated against at Wallerawang? Why are they going to be made to go and catch a bus? Whereas the next town out, Taana, they can catch a train. They don't have to catch a bus because it's too far off the highway. So they still let the train stop there. They've got two platforms. I think one's got a train track. Oh, yeah, that's right. Comes in one platform into Taana, and then it comes out a set of points, and then there's two tracks. Why can't they do that at Wallerawang? They'd make me transport minister. Wouldn't this country soon get cleaned up, I'll tell you, this state. You'd have electric trains going from Muswellbrook to Mudgee with the new Goulburn platform around the corner from the old one, just around the corner, on the direct line in the Goulburn going back towards Mudgee. That's how I do it. I run electric loop trains. You can get on an electric train out of the central, sit on and go for a train ride and go right around to Mudgee and come back. That's the way I do it. Join up the circles, mate. Stop having all these dead ends and dead lines and making people drive for hours and hours and hours that don't want to drive. It's ridiculous. Anyway, that's it. And then electrified out to Bathurst 5,000, 1,000. Go and have a look on Google Earth. You'll see the railway lines. They're still there. World War II. They go right out there to the old army factory across the paddock, away from the, was it Regis, is it? Clark Regis at Bathurst? Right? You can still see the railway lines down there in the dirt. You can see them on Google Earth. Wouldn't that be great? The electric train right out to Bathurst, Mount Panorama. Train would have to run out there every time. Wouldn't matter. Doesn't matter. Because if it only goes out there over the Mount Panorama weekend and the train ran out there every 30 minutes or every hour, how many cars is that going to take off the road? And also they can still run the train out there during the week because people want to go to that hotel. So people can get on a train at the international airport, the new one, Badger's Creek or Mascot, and then somehow still get onto that Blue Mountains train, go to Bathurst and go to Mount Panorama. So it's work, work, work. It's employment. It's going to give people more jobs. You build more electric railway stations in the Sydney metropolitan area and put it out where I say, you'll have jobs coming in and running out of your backside, even after they finish building them all. You won't know what to do with yourself, especially if you electrify it down to Goulburn. How many people want to get down to Goulburn and visit their family in Goulburn jail? Imagine if you ran an electric train down there at least every 2 hours. That's all right, because that's what they run to Lithgow, every 2 hours in off-peaks on weekends. So what if you run an electric double-decker train down to Goulburn every 2 hours? People go visit their family in Goulburn jail. Or run a double-decker electric train down to Nowra and go down there fishing for the weekend. Wouldn't that be nice? Instead of changing over at Kiama. Because all those old drivers are dead and buried now. But they just haven't finished it. Or electric train right up back up to there in Newcastle. Yeah, you can still have ridiculous little Gladys's tram, but just give us back platform 1 and 2 at Newcastle, back at the old station. Who wants to spend 45 minutes getting on a tram from Hamilton to Newcastle interchange, change them, get on a tram, and then get to the far end of the tram line takes 46 minutes. Whereas the old train, and there's plenty of videos on there, you know, Sydney train to old Newcastle train station, only took 6 minutes, not 46, took 6 from Hamilton. 46 now, but was 6. Get rid of the crap. Clean up the government's mess. Electrify it to Dungog. Electrify it up to Scone. You can buy a ticket in Sydney for $2.50 at Scone and go to Goulburn. But the problem is they don't give you any trains to catch. But your tickets there legally says you can catch a train from Dungog, Scone to Goulburn for $2.50 on a weekend. But they just don't give you any trains to catch. So why? I'll tell you why. Because we used to have steam trains. And we used to have 600 class and 900 class depth sets. And they used to go out to Dungog and Scone, stop and turn around and come back 6 times a day. But once they got rid of Newcastle station, they got rid of all those 600 class, 700 class and depth sets. And now you see them run around a 621 up there at Byron Bay and 601 running around Sydney as a tourist train. 622s up at Tenterfield in Nowra Museum, along with 729s up there at Byron Bay, and 724s or 727 is up there at Tenterfield. I always got rid of them. I said, oh no, they're too old. They're too old. What about the Sydney trams? They're only 20 years old. They've got cracks and holes in them. And they're not too old, but they're garbage. You should throw them away. Get rid of them. Let New South Wales build their own trains again. Let New South Wales have their own engineering schools. Let railways be railways in New South Wales. Stop buying all this Indian crap, Spanish crap, and all these other countries, Chinese crap. What, are we that stupid? Yes, I do, mate. Yes. Brian Betts, yes. Oh, you are Neil's mate. Are you, Brian? Are you Neil's mate? You know Neil? Thylacines, what do we call it? I know Neil quite well. Oh, not quite well, but I know of him. I'll wait for a it's a 30-second delay. So, Brian, do you know Neil? Okay, cool. We didn't say you know Neil. Yeah, Neil knows me, the thylacine guy. Yeah, he knows me too. Yeah, I spoke to him. He is a good chap, yeah. Bit more pop belly than what I am. I'm up here in Sydney. He's down there in Tassie. Good, nice to meet you, Brian. What made you find me on this channel? Brian, what made you find me? What made you log into me? Did you just find me through being a live chat, or did you find me because you see my comments on Brian? Sorry, Brian, with Neil on thylacines. I cover a lot of different things on this channel. I cover Bigfoot, Yowies, thylacines, mysteries, missing people, railways, engineering, automotive engineering, and turning buses into houses. I cover a lot of things. So how'd you find me? That's the question. How did you find me? For what reason? I'm in New York State in the USA, even though I'm American. I'm obsessed with the thylacine. Oh, well, what do you want to know? Don't invite me there for dinner. You'll bite you. Oh, what can I tell you about him? Did you know about the shooter guy? YouTube suggested your channel due to almost thylacine in Australian searches. Oh, well, that's good, because that's the analytics, because I comment on his, and I done a thylacine one. It's on you got a pen and paper. Go and get your pen and paper, Brian. The Leyland brothers, Leyland. Ask the Leyland brothers, Mike and Mal. And I think there's Mike. I think Mal died, and Mike has now got the thing. And he actually shows a thylacine up on a rock face in the Northern Territory, drawn by Aboriginals 30, 40,000 years ago, and clearly shows the stripes on the back of the thylacine. I once seen a thylacine myself, but people just look at it and say, oh, no, you stupid old bastard. I said, no, I was only 30 years old. And I was, do you know New South Wales at all? I'll wait for you to come back, Brian. Do you know New South Wales at all? Right, okay. I downloaded one of their videos from early 80s. Someone asked them if they thought it still existed. Well, it does still exist because about 1980, was it? I left the railways in 83, 84. I was up there around the Blue Mountains. Right, okay. I'll do the old hand in the ground. Right, there's the east coast of Australia. There's Sydney. You're miles, aren't you? I'm 50 miles west of Sydney. Look, I'm that good. I actually can transfer miles and kilometres in my head. Right? I don't need to get a computer, right? Calculator. There's me, St Mary's. And then, okay, put St Mary's there. Well, there's St Mary's. And then you go out here and you've got Penrith about 5 miles away. And then it goes up the Blue Mountains. You've probably heard about the Blue Mountains. Well, you got, first of all, you go up the Blue Mountains and you go Penrith to Emu Plains. And it goes up a little bit up the mountain. There's a little tiny station there. I can't think of its name off the top of my head. It goes Glenbrook, Blaxland. It goes on a few, and then there's Hazelbrook. We're just up there in Hazelbrook. But by all means, get in, Brian. Get in and look at my channel. I'm one of these guys. I've got the big New South Wales map. And I also do all the disused railway lines throughout the state of New South Wales. And I show you Byron Bay, Wollumbar, Tweed Heads, Burring Bar. And there's a song on there, and it's called I've Been Everywhere, Man. And 90% of those towns I've been in New South Wales or on the coast going to Cairns in North Queensland or right down into Victoria, like Bendigo and Ballarat and all them. And Pyramid Hill down in Victoria. And one of those towns is also 2/3 of the way up to Cairns. I've been right up to Cairns in a great big motorhome bus. Go down through all my channel. Some are different. They switch around or I switch around. I'm an old man. But you want to learn something about New South Wales and East Coast of Australia, railways, thylacines, yowies, Bigfoots, I cover the whole bloody lot. So if you like, you know the rules. Push the subscribe button, push the bell button, and you can write me now. Get your pen and paper there, Brian. MrHominoid@gmail.com. That's it. Mr. Hominoid, HOMINOID @gmail.com. And you can write me an email, mate, and you want to know something, anything you want to know about. Thylacines, Bigfoot, yowies. Did you hear about the yowie in West Australia that was caught on camera about 4 days ago? Did you hear about that one? On live camera. Not the one in America, the black one. You're welcome. Did you hear about the yowie in West Australia? It's caught on a thermal camera, and it's that convincing because yowies don't wear pants. So what's a thermal camera show? Body heat. So Brian's obviously a male. So where do you think a lot of your body heat is as a male? So on the thermal camera, you can see it hanging down with the thermal heat, his boy bits. And the guy, you know, Neil, even he's impressed by it. He read the comment in himself. And the guy that done the footage, right, you want to know what it's called? Bigfoot. Where's my remote? Mate, I'm the walking encyclopedia. Right, okay. I'll get rid of my train stuff, what I was doing. So much for doing train. This bloke, he's over there in New York, people. And he's obviously coming a new subscriber, aren't you? I'll actually show you the footage. I've actually got it up here. Just got to come down and I don't go to free-to-air TV. Right. The guy's name is Bigfoot, the Australian Yowie. Thank you. You just subscribed. Thank you. Well, the guy's name is Bigfoot, the Australian Yowie. That's the channel name. And you'll see a kangaroo. This is going to sound funny. It's a kangaroo tree, palm tree. It's been burnt down, and this is where a kangaroo tail plant grows out. And in this black stump video, all those things sticking up you see, those bushes are called kangaroo tails, because that's what the Aborigines call them, because they look like kangaroo tails. Now, it's a 1 minute long video. I don't think my camera's going to do it justice. It's called Yowies on Thermal. YOWIES on Thermal. THERMAL. 583 views in the last 3 days. This guy does not have a very big channel, but I met the guy when he was in Queensland years ago, and this is his footage. He's now left Queensland and went back to Western Australia, where he originally come from. So if you go into his channel, you're right back. You see he was in Western Australia, and he says, I'm moving over to southeast Queensland. And he lived in a caravan park, and he chased yowies around the Queensland caravan park, because southeast Queensland's got bloody full of yowies and Bigfoots and thylacines around southeast Queensland. Believe it or not, they're up there. Well, who's called what? Right, human extinction. Well, that wouldn't be a bad thing for the planet. Oh, you found it. Yeah, his junk is red hot. That's right. So you know yourself, if you go for a run wearing a pair of shorts and no undies on, you know you're going to generate heat in that area. Well, let's look at it together. And there's other, but I don't know where there's other. I got some other guy called Kyle Top. I don't know what he's on about. Where am I going? Oh, there it is. Let's have a look. Oh, stupid bloody ad. I don't believe in playing these stupid ads. I'm glad I don't have the volume up on this TV set. I'll tell you. 3, 2, 1, 0. There he is there. That's a yowie. Now, if you don't look to the left, there's another one. There's actually two. See its legs there now? You watch. Legs are to the left. See? You see the other one run up the shadows? Then watch. They actually run down the hill. Through the bushes. There they go. You see them running down the hill. So there you go. A lot of people don't realise that. And that's one thing I well, that's why they call me the hominoid. You know what a hominoid is, don't you? Bigfoot. What's a Bigfoot? Big human. I'm Mr. Human. I'm not a Mr. Beast worth $1 billion. I'm just Mr. Actually, you know what the stupid thing is? You think a bloke like Mr. Beast would have called himself Mr. Hominoid, because he's saying himself that he's an animal. I think I got the better name. At least I'm not insulting myself. Do you agree with that, Brian? Really, Mr. Beast. Oh, you're Mr. Beast. Oh, you don't look like a beast. You look like a bloke. You watch Mr. Beast? Have you? I take it you've seen him, Brian. Have you, Mr. Beast? Him $100,000 giveaway, and what was the one I seen there tonight? Mr. Hominoid. Yeah, well, you're a hominoid too, so you belong in the family. You're hominid. Hominids are humans, Neanderthals, caveman, everything. We're all hominids. And down on my channel, I actually tell you how I got my name. But just for you, Brian, I'll tell you. I was watching a guy in Australia called Dean Harrison. He also talks about thylacines. Now, if you get your pen and paper there, I'll tell you the episode. It is the Dargan Yowie story on Yowie Hunters Australia, YHA. And he calls himself Yowie Hunters Australia. And then he says, oh, Yowies are hominids. And I thought to myself, you're a dickhead. You're out there chasing hominids. Why didn't you call yourself Mr. Hominid? Why would you call yourself Yowie Australia? Because over in North America and Europe, they don't know what a Yowie is. It's Australian name. Mr. Beast is a competitive eater. Yes. Yeah, you know the other thing I noticed about Mr. Beast, he doesn't talk properly. I'm an old man with no teeth. That's my excuse. Man, seems to look like he's got a cussed lip. You notice that? He's got that funny speech impediment. He's got that stuff that look like. He never raises his voice. That's one thing I noticed. See how observant I am? You notice that I observed there's a second Yowie. But did you notice that Mr. Beast never ever raises his voice? Because he's got a clipped palate. Go and listen to it next time, Brian. It's not like I say, it's not like a plan. I can't listen to but, you know, you can only watch so much of Mr. Beast. But at least I cover everything. I cover trains, Yowies, thylacines. I seen my one up there at Hazelbrook. It's the same one probably up there with Dean Harrison saying. But mine was about 10 years before. So I got a feeling it was probably its mother or father, the one that Dean Harrison saying. He said he was standing up there and it's in the Dargan story, and the guy talks about how his little kid comes up and says, Daddy, there's a monster on the front porch. And then the guy talks about how he sees a black panther up at Mount Victoria, which is further up the mountain. Oh, yeah, I'm occasionally looking down the board to see if you write something. I'm being polite. At least I check, you know. Not like Mr. Beast today on his live stream. I'm sitting there watching it, and then the thing's going up and up and up and up, and all these people trying to get his attention. And he's just blah, 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 blah. Mark Roper occasionally went over and had a look, and one of the other guys has had a look, but he knew not to say nothing because it's Mr. Beast's TV show, you know. And he's watching this live stream, man, blah, 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 blah. Yes, definitely in Papua New Guinea, definitely. Now, you're going to ask me, why do I know that? Why do I think that? Because I was once with the military. I went over to Cambodia. Do you remember Pol Pot regime? The Pol Pot back in the 80s, and he went round, and if you're a farmer and you didn't give enough money, he cut their heads off. Right? So we got snuck over there and took out 3 of their generals. Pol Pot never ever got charged with any war crimes. He murdered thousands of people, cut their heads off, women and children and men. But he never ever got charged for war crimes. Well, since Pol Pot went, and the Khmer Rouge come out of the Cambodian mountains years ago, those same guys who were in the, what they used to call terrorists, but freedom fighters, once they come out of Cambodia, up out of the mountains, and they realised they could come out without being prosecuted, they turned around and said, well, what are we going to do now for a living? So, all right, Brian, you've been over there in Cambodia. You've been stuck up there in the mountain ranges for 20 years fighting a war. Right, okay. Yeah, well, I lived through Idi Amin as well. I'm over 60, so I can tell you that. Anyway, now those guys that fought over there in Cambodia. They come down out of the mountains after 20 years of fighting. And they said, what job are we going to get? You know, they're Cambodians. They've been up there in the fight and they're boom, 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 shooting at the bloody armies. So next thing you know, the borders open up. Cambodia is a free country. Along come the tourists. The tourists come in and they say, well, how far can we go? These guys go, hey, we know all about the mountain. We were up there for 20 years. We'll come your tour guide. So all these ex-soldiers lived up in the mountains for 20 years. They're now the tour guides. And they take them up in there, up there in Cambodia, up in the mountain ranges. Right? And then they said, oh, yeah, this is great. So I used to take little expeditions, not too far. Now, Brian, this is going to be right up your neck of the woods. Over there in USA, they decided to send a herd, I'm going to say herd, of scientists. And they went over to Cambodia. And a couple of British, and a couple of Canadians, one Australian, went into Cambodia. They went up in the mountains. How many new species of plant and animals and birds do you think they found in the first 6 months? Can you say 100, 200, 300, 400, 500? Try 2,000. 2,000 types of unknown plants, animals, birds, insects, you name it, fungus, whatever. And they're still licking their lips. Cambodia is still the biggest hot thing. And that's right, because it was primitive. Because those soldiers kept it primitive, because they couldn't develop it like here in Sydney or every other city like New York and didn't make concrete mess. Saying they're over there, wow, look at you, this is what's his, that'll be related to what's his name? This is look at that big animal. Oh, it's half kangaroo. Like, what was that African animal? It had the trunk, the stripes on its ass. Tope? Was it Tope? And they said, oh, that was extinct. And 50 years later, they found one. 50 years later. Was it Tope? Is that the word? Tope? Yeah, I think that was it. You can Google it. It's got a trunk. It's got stripes. It's got big ears. It's got a big head. Lack of access in the Cambodian people raises the odds of significantly. Oh, definitely. Because half those tribes in Papua New Guinea, they were cannibals. You remember that, was it Rockefeller's son that disappeared? Tapia, thank you. Tapia, yeah, Tapia. I know it's TAP something. Good on you. All right, okay, there you go. You just won yourself a free IGA card, right? I don't give away anything from me. I'm not Mr. Beast, I'm just Mr. Ominoid. But if you want something, you let me know, mate. I'll post it over to you. I'll email it to you. I'll scan it and I'll email it to you. Whatever you want to know. Anything you want to know about Australia, I do it. I'm a researcher. I could just see what researcher? Yeah. Yeah, Rockefeller was likely eaten by cannibals. That's right, because that's what's in Papua New Guinea. That's what I mean. That's what I do. I do research all around Australia. Now, here's one that's going to blow your brain. On the globe, 40,000 years ago, oh, thanks, mate. On the globe, 40,000 years ago, on a global map, you see Sydney. Yeah, Sydney. I think it's Sydney. I might have to rack my brain a bit. You see where Sydney is now on that line, which lines up with Adelaide, which lines up with Perth, right? But irrespective of that, on the 40 degrees or whatever the line is, right? Where was Sydney 40,000 years ago? It was in Tasmania, where it is now. Yep. Sydney was Australia was around the globe. Australia is going around the planet. Yeah, definitely. Definitely cannibals over there, because a friend of mine worked for Qantas, and he was a aircraft mechanic out of Mascot International. He worked for Qantas about 1995. And he said, "Oh, I'm going to have Papua New Guinea for my holiday." I said, "Well, don't go there and get eaten." And he come back and he said, "I thought you were joking about getting eaten." I said, "Well, what are you talking about?" He said, "I was over there." He said, "I made some friends in Papua New Guinea, and they told me, don't go up that mountain up over there. The cannibals are up there. They will still eat you." In 1995. 1995, they're still eating people. It's like that bloody island that's under India, and you go there and they'll just kill you. They just don't like other people. Can't think of the name of the island. I'm getting tired. It's 12:18 a.m. over here at the moment. I've been up since 7 a.m. Oh, God. Brian, can I get a pay rise? You pay me nothing, so can I get triple pay? Brian. Hey, you want a good Aussie joke? Oh, no, I'll give you a quiz, Brian. Sydney, Australia is still moving north. Have a guess where the Australian plate is that goes around Australia. It's north of Papua New Guinea. Yes, Papua New Guinea. Overtime's been approved. Cheap bugger, aren't you? Oh, listen, I'll play myself, right? Look, there you go. There you go. Tell you what, Brian, if you like, I'll post that to you. And you say, what is it? It's a Bathurst car races memorial from Bathurst. The Bathurst 1000 big car race. Right? And I got some other stuff there too from Bathurst. Over here. Well, here's just a photo, just for you, Brian. That's me when I used to live in a bus. That's why I said I lived in a bus. I travel around Australia. That's me living in a bus. That's where the glass is. That was my double bed. It's not very clear, but that was only 15 years ago. Here's another one. So it's a bus windows, and that's where my mattress sat. Actually, the mattress sitting here right on the bed here is the one that used to sit on that. That's my spare glass for the front door. And I travelled around between Cairns and Melbourne in a bus for 17 years, mate. I was what do you call them? We call them grey ghost. I was right, mate. 17 years of it. That's what I said. I went to Cairns in my bus. I went down to Melbourne. Actually, there's a photo here, actually. There's my back wheels. That's Cootamundra down in southern New South Wales. That's a disused railway line. That railway line's about 100-something years old. Southern New South Wales. Here's me driving my bus in Sydney Street, Sydney Road, Melbourne. Now, Melbourne has trams and Sydney did not in 1995. Can you see the overhead wires? See the tram tracks on the road? And you look there, right, dead centre in the front of the camera, you see the wiper blade of the bus. It is amazing. This is me in the bus up northwestern New South Wales going gold prospecting. So again, you can see the wiper blade. And that map book on the bottom of the photograph, I've still got it. It shows every road I ever went on. And that bit of road there, that's up in what they call the New England the New England. I believe you've got a New England over there around there, New York. You've got New England. Well, it's the same thing what they did over here. That's the size of my bus. My one's on the white one, not the one underneath my finger. That was David's. His bus was smaller. Now, my bus was 12.5 metres long, weighed 10 tonne. I love the country. Can I, how old are you, Brian? Can I ask you that? You're between 20 and 30, 30, 40, 40, 50, 50, 60. That was my bus, inside my bus. That's a 12-volt colour TV set. You see the bus windows, and I put the fly screens on it. Oh, mate, good. Oh, perfect age. Perfect age for you to get out of here. Perfect. You still got your health, but you got the brains. You're not a silly too young, right? There's another one inside the bus. I built everything. Automotive structural engineering. I've done everything. You see the glass door of the bus behind the guy's head? I welded the steel bars in, so if they break the glass in the door, they still can't get in. Yeah, that's my big fat shorts hanging up on the rear vision mirror, drying out in the sun. Look how brown he is. Can you see how brown he is? That's the colour you go when you live in Australia without a shirt on. He's not a black fella. He's a white boy from Melbourne, from down Victoria. No, there's another. Not the same one, but it's another one. What else I got? Oh, me when I built the back end of a bus, you usually got a solid fixed wall. Right, what I did was I took the skin off. I took the two fiberglass corners on where the taillights go in. I took them off, disconnected the taillights, pulled that apart, took the fiber. I had to get the drill out. You take out all the pop rivets, all the way around. Take off the two fiberglass panels. You've got two sheets of aluminium dead center in the back. And I said, right. And I took it off. I said, oh, feel the breeze come through the bus. Oh, beautiful. And that's what I had. So that's the interior bend. That's the interior bend. And that fiberglass panel goes on these two here and across the back is where the aluminium went. So what I did was I cut that bar out, and I put a blue bar in across the top, and I put in two doors. So if you're out in the country, oh, cute pooch, yes. That's Miss Muradog. She died 7th of the 8th, 09. She was 21 years old. She's a white Labrador cross dingo. That's the smartest dog you'd ever meet. Mate, I've got a photo. I've even got videos of them. Still, I've got to find them. One day I'll put them up on the channel. But what I did, I built the doors. I made my own doors, made up my own steel frames, put the skin from the old outside door onto the doors. And then when it was stinking hot night, I was out in the country. I can open up the two doors. Yeah, tell me about it, 21, which is ex drug sniffer dog at Sydney International Airport. Now, how did I find that out? Because one day, International Airport's there, come around to Mascot Domestic here, and over here there was a Chinese takeaway shop, and she sat out the front on the footpath, never needed a rope. And I'm sitting there, I'm ordering my Chinese meal, and the guy walks up and says, oh, g'day, Mara. Starts patting her on the head. She's wagging her tail and going like this. I said, how do you know my dog's name? He said, mate, she used to be my dog. She used to be the drug sniffer dog out at the airport. And then I seen his federal policeman's thing, ex-cop dog. Yeah. And another day, you've heard about King's Cross, have you, Brian? Ever heard of King's Cross back in the 80s and the 90s? Small world about that. Yeah, I know there's a 30-second delay. You heard about King's Cross? You used to have all the drug addicts, the prostitutes, and nightclubs, and all the drugs and the murders and everything like that. Well, I used to work at King's Cross train station in 1983. Anyway, there's a video down there on it. You can go down and see the video. There's a couple of videos. I'll actually pull out my railway worksheet. Okay, well, King's Cross is like your King's Cross in England. Our King's Cross was full of, actually, I have got a video on it right here, right, very close. I only filmed it last week. Where are we? Somebody's hit it. It's called Where Am I? Where did I put it? Sorry, 2 seconds. You know the good thing about this, I don't have to upload it. Bigfoot Yowie Batlow. You ever see that one? The other scenes are down there as well. Can you see the Bigfoot? You see the guy sitting on the right, and then there's another guy next to him. Look over to the left. This photo was taken in 1939 in a box brownie camera. Where is it? Oh, hang on. Sorry. There's the two guys. Where am I putting the camera? I got myself confused. I'm watching the TV. It's the opposite. It's a 1939 box brownie camera. You know, the old black and white film. The guy takes a photo. He sends it up to Sydney to go and get developed. And when he gets the picture back, he sees this thing sitting in the background. Now can you see him? Two big shoulders, two legs, two arms. He's down on my channel. You go and watch it. There he is. There's his knee. There's his knee. I'm pointing to his knee. There's his shoulder. There's his arm. There's his other hand. And he's sitting there like this. He put his head down. So when they took the photo, they wouldn't get the eyeballs. Because if they put the head down, it's a camouflage. Your black hair hangs down, and then they look like the shadow of the tree. The tree leaves shade. See, that's down there on my channel. You get in and look at it. Yeah, that's my channel. Where is it? Oh, true. Sydney Trams, Chaos. Oh, I went down to beer in Sydney. Thylacine updates. I'll tell you about that one. Is that the one that you looked at? Oh, he was. No, the cameraman never. No, they had no idea. Right, you got a picture of this. 1939. Batlow is the Southern Highlands. No. Sydney, come down, you've got the Southern Highlands, Goulburn, Mittagong. Then you come way down towards the coast, and you come down into the Snowy Mountains. B-A-T-L-O-W, Batlow. Go look it up. It's famous for apples. It's cold in winter. It snows. It's hot in summer. And all the water down there is made for the Snowy Mountain scheme. So in 1939, they started building the Snowy Mountains water scheme to give Sydney water and to run the big turbines. So they turned all the Snowy Mountains, 200 round, 300 round square kilometres, into this huge hydroelectric field, right? You go down and look up Snowy Rivers Mountain Hydroelectric Scheme, Snowy Mountains Hydroelectric Scheme, right? So rewind this tape if you forget it, right? When it gets re-edited. Snowy Mountains Hydroelectric Scheme. And they had no money, and the guys were living in tents out in the bush, freezing cold in winter, with a potbelly stove, freezing their guts off. There was no food. There was a depression. So you either stand in a food chow line in Sydney and starve, or you go down and work for the Snowy Mountain Scheme and get paid so many dollars, fed, and a tent, and if you're lucky, you got a cabin. So this day, they get up there and they decided that the guy says, right, it's a stinking hot day. We've got our shorts on, him and his two mates, and they go for a walk down to a creek. Now, I could say Batlow Creek, but I'll be lying. I could really go into the research of it, but the guy's been dead and buried for about 40 years. So I had a bit of an idea going by the background of the photo. I do go down to Batlow. I have been to Batlow train station. I've been to Tumut and Tumbarumba and all those sorts of places. It's all down there in that neck of the woods, right? So like that song says, I've been everywhere, man. Yeah, that's where I've been, going to go at Tumut. Actually, one of your American guys, YouTuber, iRocker. You ever heard of him, iRocker? I-W-R-O-C-K-E-R, iRocker. Ian, I gave him a quiz. I said, what's the name of a 5-letter town in New South Wales? And it's like got 3 different letters in it. It's got a M, a U, and a T. It's got 5 letters in it, which means obviously 2 letters are going to repeat. So I said M, a U, and a T. I'm obviously not going to say it in the right order. And the answer was Tumut. T-U-M-U-T. Tumut. Well, that's right next door to Batlow. Batlow. Yeah, Batlow. Oh, sounds like a Batlow, Barrenbar. Batlow, Barrenbar. There's a whole bunch of batty towns here in Australia. I'll tell you, bat this and bat that. Anyway, so this guy goes down the creek, and they go down there for a swim. It's 8:33. I'm here in the States, and I've got to get to work. I've been awesome meeting you. Definitely be following you. I have one. Have a good one to talk to. Okay. Anyway, that's what he did. Quickly went down the creek, went in there for a swim. They walked across the creek. They had a swim. 2 guys sat on the log. He said, I've got my box bound county. And he took a photo across the creek on an angle, and he didn't realise where the box bound camera was, and he got that big thing in the corner of the picture. And that's basically the story. Morning, Brian. Have a good day at work. And see me again. Bye, Brian. G'day, mate. Had to give you one of them. See you, son. Anyway, Mr. Ominoidi, 1 hour 45 minutes. I'm closing off. I'm checking out the Batlow picture after work. Yeah, good. There's a couple of people done videos on it, but I just took a picture of the video. Yeah, g'day. Hey, you smell it right. Get on you, son. What's something you say to your mates at work to really get them going, apart from g'day? Audi? No, that's American. Hang on. Oi, O-I. Oi, 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 jump on the back. Oi, don't get it. Oi. O-I, oi. Right, fine. I'm going to. Oi, oi, oi. Go, Aussie, go. Oi, oi, oi. See you later, everybody. Good morning and good night from Mr. Ominoid. See you all later. MrHominoid@gmail.com or on Facebook, Messenger, Twitter, Instagram, and just be happy and have a smile on your face. See you later. Hope you love that. That really got off the train subject, didn't it? Got on the Yowies in Australia with a guy from New York, Brian Betts. Good on you, Brian. Love it. Love it. Don't ever be afraid to join in one of my live chats. I love it. See you later.